أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So inshallah we are starting a new surah. This is Surah Ash-Shams, 26th surah in Revelation order, 91st surah in Musaf order. So I was looking at the cause of revelation, but I couldn't see anything in the tafsir that I look at, so they didn't mention any reason for revelation. So let's look at a quick overview of the surah. وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا, by the sun and its brightness, and by the moon as it follows it. وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا, and by the day as it displays its glory. وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَاهَا, by the night as it conceals it. وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا, by the heaven and its wonderful structure. An alternative translation for this one is by the heaven and the one who built it. وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا ضَحَاهَا, and by the earth and its wide expanse. Another, again, possible translation for this one is by the earth and the one who spread it. وَنَفْسِ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, by the soul and the proportion and order given to it. Or alternatively again, by the soul and the one who perfected it. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, and inspired it what is wrong for it and what is right for it. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا, truly he succeeds that purifies it. وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا, and he fails that corrupts it. كَذَّبَتْ ثَمُودُ بِطَغْوَاهَا إِذْ انبَعَثَ أَشْقَاهَا, the Thamud rejected through their inordinate wrongdoing when the basest of them broke forth. فَقَالَ لَهُمْ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ نَاقَةَ اللَّهِ وَسُقْيَاهَا, but the Messenger of Allah said to them, it is a she-camel of Allah, and do not prevent her from having her drink. فَكَذَّبُوهُ فَعَقَرُوهَا فَدَمْدَمَ عَلَيْهِمْ رَبُّهُمْ بِذَنبِهِمْ فَسَوَّاهَا, then they rejected him and they hamstrung her. We'll talk about that, hamstrung, or pretty much killed her in a very brutal way, the camel. So their Lord, on account of their crime, obliterated their traces and made them flats, made them equal of flats. وَلَا يَخَافُ عُقْبَاهَا, and for him is no fear of its consequences. So this is the surah. So let's start from the beginning. وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا. So I'm going to pose the question in general, because the surah starts with the sun and its light, and the moon as it follows it, referring to sun. وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا, and by the day as it displays its glory. Again, it's in here refers to the sun. وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَاهَا, and the night as it covers it or conceals the sun. And then وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا, by the heaven. And so وَمَا بَنَاهَا here, the double meaning is being given by this structure here. Could be taken as وَمَا بَنَاهَا, and whatever it's made up of, like its structure. Or the one وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا, and by the skies, by the heavens, and by the one who built it up. yeah, both meanings are possible, with a tiny difference in here, why it's not who, but what. So ma here means what, not who. وَمَا بَنَاهَا. This is why I also put this first translation by the heavens and its wonderful structure. If it was وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَنْ بَنَاهَا, by the heavens and who built it up. But some translators were saying that وَمَا in here rather than men is just to make you question. I mean, we can ask that question actually. Why ma rather than men? And when we get there, let's ask that question. Okay. وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا ضَحَاهَا. Again, we have ma over there. وَالْأَرْضِ, and the earth and its wide expanse, or the one who spread it. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. And then the conversation comes to the nafs, to the self, and who makes it, who gives it the shape, who proportions it. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. And inspired it with the right and the wrong. So three major themes here. Shams, Qamar, like sun, moon, day and night. This is one theme. The second theme comes Sama and Ard, the heavens and the earth and how they are created. And then the conversation is being brought to the self, how it is created and how right and wrong are inspired to it. So what does this arc tell us? Why does it start with the sun and the moon? Like what can we take out of this? Because still the major point is going to come with قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا, because the words of oath is coming all the way up to verse number 8. Verse number 9 and 10 is giving the main message. But all the way to there is the words of oath. Before I get into asking you the question, let me recap something that I keep repeating, but it's necessary to repeat sometimes. Words of oath in general are there to do what? There is an argument that is not clear to me, and to prove it to me, you need to come up with something that's going to support. So there is an unknown, but what is being provided as words of oath should be self-evident or going to make it clear to me what will follow. So this is why words of oath are important. First, they should be clear and self-evident. Second, they should be supporting what is going to come next. And Quran keeps using these words of oath a lot. And I should be able to pay attention to them. Quran is attracting my attention to them, saying that, look here, you are going to find the evidence to what I'm going to tell you next. Now, in this case, the words of oath are sun and its light, moon as it follows the sun, night, day as it shows sun, and night as it covers sun. What does this tell us? Like how is this important, and why is it being brought to our attention? These are simple things, or what? I mean, what is the point? How is this going to help us with the eventual conclusion, which would be قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. Truly he succeeds that purifies it, and he fails that corrupts it. This is going to be the conclusion that we are trying to reach to. But before coming to here, it starts by sun, like sun and its light, moon as it follows sun, and whatnot. What's the point here? What do you think? Spam call. Yes.
I guess to me, the first thing I think about is sort of like a cycling between two like opposing or maybe like opposite states. Like the sun signifies like the daytime and the moon signifies like the night, and like day and night are also mentioned. And since these are both words, like one thing I think about that's like apparent to me, like something that's obvious to me, is that like there is this cycling of day and night that's happening. And then I'm not, I guess for the heaven and the earth, that's like another, like drawing my attention again to two sort of like distinct like places for like two distinct states. And I guess I'm just like thinking about like maybe I'm like cycling between these two like states myself as well.
Okay, so there is a huge change that's going on, and this change is being, my attention is, these changes are being brought to my attention. And it's constant day and night, sun and moon, heavens and the earth. So I am being called to get a little awakened to say that what's going on, where am I? Okay, what else?
So the way I'm thinking about it is it's like, it seems really symbolic how we discussed last time. We discussed night as when there's something that's worrying you, or when there's a bad period going on in your life, that's also a night. And the way I'm thinking, I'm drawing a relation between how the sun and the brightness is when you purify your soul, and when you're conscious, when you have the consciousness that what is wrong and what is right, and you choose the right path, that's when the day is displayed in its glory. That's when your soul is purified in that sense. But without that taqwa, that's when the night is going to conceal the glory of the sun.
Okay,
Again, very symbolic in that sense.
okay, good. So
That's the way I'm taking it.
yeah, okay, we'll do both. Let's read it symbolically too. Read it literally and then read it symbolically. We'll do both. That's good. Yes.
So I guess I would start with verse number 9.
Okay.
قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. It says, the one who purifies it succeeds, where the it is unspecified. And in the previous ayahs, it, the ha, is referred to many different things. So maybe we can interpret it as the one who purifies the sun, the moon, the earth, the this, the that, who purifies maybe his understanding or relationship with all these things succeeds or finds fulfillment. And the one who does not fails. And so it's saying, these everyday things are very important. It might determine or be a symptom or something of your success.
Very interesting point. Generally, this last ha here, well, I mean, the ones that I read, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا, the ha here, like it refers to right before, which is nafs, the closest one. They refer to the purification of the self, which we'll talk about it. But purification of shams, purification of qamar would also be an interesting way of reading it. How to purify shams, how to purify moon or sun or day and night, because which also comes with the question of how can you dirty it? If purification is an option, even for the self, like the nafs. So it should be something that's dirtyable, so that you are now being invited to cleanse it. So if we go with your understanding, Atik, how would you make sun dirty? Sun is clean and it's so hot, you cannot, like it will burn whatever sort of dirt you will throw at it. No?
Just take it as something given, something, I don't know, caused by some random process, has no purpose. It just, just exists. It's there to make us suffer in the summertime,
Yeah,
and its absence makes us cold. It doesn't care about us at all.
I see. So sun, which is supposed to illuminate me, can actually endarken me, sort of, with its existence, because it's like a merciless thing over there. Actually, it's like a fireball. Like as a byproduct, I'm benefiting from it, but it doesn't have any mercy or anything to me. So actually, it's dangerous to me, yet somehow I'm benefiting from it. So there's no light in this. Actually, in this way of understanding, it's a very dark way of looking at sun. It's something scary for me, actually.
Um,
So in this way, we dirtied the sun.
and since the preceding guy has also mentioned unbelievers, I guess. I'm also understanding that there were, like, during that time, there were people who worshiped the sun, there were people who worshiped the moon, and I feel like that's a way to, because if you look at verse number 4, how it mentions by heaven and its wonderful structure and the one who built it, I'm like, we can also like relate the one who built it back to the sun and the night. So I think that's a way to dirty the sun by saying that, by worshiping it, by
Or by assuming that it happens by itself. Because today even one might be worshiping sun or moon in different ways. Like I mean, practically speaking, there was COVID, and then there was COVID vaccine, and then we said, oh, it's a lifesaver. Like COVID vaccine is a lifesaver. So what does this mean? I do expect health to be provided by this vaccine. So I am seeing it as my provider, as my sustainer, as my protector. Like Hafiz, the protector, is the creator, or is it the COVID vaccine? So if I start seeing the vaccine itself as the protector, then it really becomes, if I put it with Atik's words, now I am dirtying what could have been a source of a mercy of the protector one as a shower of his protection. Like it could be a sign of his protection, but rather I'm taking it as the source of my protection. So I'm dirtying it in this sense. So this is also a good understanding in this case. Okay. So these are the things that we take granted for so much, like sun and its light. Sun is there and its light is there, but as if it's saying that sun and its light are two separate entities that I am creating together. Because I take sunlight as a natural consequence of sun being sun. But here, sun and its light. So, وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا in here, moon is following sun. Like in what sense moon is following sun though? If you think about it.
So
yeah,
I don't know, the translation I have, it like simplifies it to saying how it just reflects the sun's light.
This is one way people take it, because like وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا in here is just comes right after it. I was looking at this word talaha. What does this mean? Because it sounds like tulur, but it's not tulur. Yeah, tulur means rising, but it's not rising really. The word is not rising. It is following right after. That's the same word with tilawa, like reciting. This tala here is the same with tilawa. And they say the idea with tilawa is speech came and somebody is repeating that speech. So coming right after. So what does it mean? Because it's not always that sun sets and then moon comes up. So in what sense really is this talking about? Can we take it literally? What does this signify? So one explanation in there is the light of the sun sets, but then again, the light of the sun comes to me through moon. Like the sunlight, I follow sunlight through the reflection of moon in this case. And this is something then again, I should consider, like the one who was illuminating me with the sun and sending me the sunlight is keeping to send me the sunlight even when the sun sets and the moon rises. And interestingly, وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا is an interesting verse too by its structure. And when the day, as it shows the sun. So the interesting thing about this verse is the day is the object here. Although day is, again, naturally, if you take it in the natural form, an outcome of the sun. So actually it is a, day is the subject here, but actually it's an object because per our understanding, sun makes the day. Since sun is there, it is day. But here it says day is showing you sun, which is interesting, like talking about the other way around. And this is important because we can take this in multiple ways. This is how we get to know our creator too. Like if I take, now I'm going a little bit on the metaphorical side. If I take the creator as the sun of the whole existence, metaphorically speaking, I do not see the sun directly, but the day shows the sun. Like for example, when you in the morning, what do you do? Oh, did the what's Fajr prayer pass? What do? You open the window, you just look at whether it is lit up. You don't see the sun, but you see the day. The presence of the day tells you that, oh, sun has risen. So the lightness of the day is an indication that the sun has risen. So day is a signifier of the presence of sun. So when Nahari إِذَا تَجَلَّى, by the day as it displays sun's glory, it shows you that the sun exists. So this is again something to think about in multiple ways. If I take sun as the creator, I get to know the creator through creation, because the creation is telling me about the presence of the sun. If I take sun, again, I'll go with metaphorical. If I take sun, and this is going to be my major way of taking these verses metaphorical, if sun is implying the revelation and prophethood. Because as the sun rises, meaning within humanity, a sun has risen, as the Prophet ﷺ, the wahi, the revelation came among people. And after the Prophet set, moons have risen up, meaning the scholars, the followers, the Sahaba, the family of the Prophet, has been reflecting this light to us. And then the society itself, the day, was reflecting, because if you look at the Muslim community, especially with the Sahaba and the following generations, how lit they were, it again testifies the light of the sun. So what is the best evidence that the Quranic message, the prophetic life was a valuable life? Look at the people that this teaching have raised, the day itself. وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَاهَا is also interesting. Let's take it both ways. When it's nighttime, now the sun is enshrouded and it's total dark. This is also a creation, but the darkness is also testifying the beauty of sun's light. Because with lack of it, now it is testifying how useful it was for you. The creation of night is again highlighting the importance of and the beauty of creation of daylight for you and the sun. And as I take it for the Prophet, if I now take it to the metaphorical case, when the sun of revelation sets, when the moon sets, when the community sets, you're left with total darkness, which makes you understand how beautiful the message had been, which is our society right now. The revelation is so far away from the society. Scholars fading, community fading, and we are left with all sorts of crude lifestyle of the society. So it's again showing us the beauty of the sun. With all these attracting my attentions to these two, and we took one in the literal sense of the creation out there, and the second in the metaphorical sense of this is pointing to the prophet and the revelation. The reason I took it with prophet is because in the second part of the surah, it will start talking about a prophet. Because the example that's being brought in the second part of the surah should be related to the oath at the beginning. There needs to be some relationship, otherwise why Quran is coming up with these intro, right? وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا ضَحَاهَا. So in this case, Sama and Arda is now coming. Let's again read it in both ways. First, it is talking about Sama being built. So Banaha in this case, as you construct something in vertical direction. And وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا ضَحَاهَا, it's being west in horizontal direction. So when it's come to Sama, yes, when you look at the skies, you see that there's an infinite depth with all the stars and everything. Who builds them? I should ask that question. What keeps them? Because definitely there's an order. I do witness to order within the smaller scale of the moon and the sun and the rest. And I can extrapolate it to all the galaxies up there. Who builds this? As Quran says, without any pillar. Like there's no pillar between them, yet there's a perfect order. Actually, we imagine a pillar between them with the forces, right? We say, oh, we calculate the distance between them and we say, oh, there's this force pushing them or pulling them. We are imagining a pillar to exist between them. But it's our conclusion. We didn't observe actually what's happening in there. What we observe is a behavior. We put a formula because it's behaving the same way. And we say this is the pillar. Like there's an F, which we represent as an arrow, which is pushing this in that direction. And another arrow, which is pulling this in that direction. Who is doing that? It's our imaginary depiction. Nobody observed anything of this sort. This is why Quran is bringing to our attention, saying that without any pillars, who keeps them there? I should ask this question. And then when it comes to Sama, mentioning a vertical construction, when it comes to Ard, says a vast horizontal domain which is being created. As in our previous discussions, we talked about these two words in the metaphorical sense a lot because Quran is using these two terms with metaphorical terms a lot. Sama referring to the heavens in terms of how things refer to their maker, their creator. It's getting dark and people start to sleep. Turn on the light. Okay. So that I think he's going to wake up. Atik made his comment and went to sleep. Since we are talking about day and night and whatnot, he entered into his cycle.
Time for day.
Okay, so Sama and Ard. Let's remember what Sama and Ard was. So the example we talk about Sama and Ard was like this blue metal which says New York on it. So in terms of its Sama, you would say that, well, this, although it says New York, you know that it's not New York. It's just a simple metal piece. It is pointing to New York. It's not New York itself. It's just a pointer. So in this example, Ard is the metal piece itself. This is a very poor example, but it's an example that explains the point. But the Sama is that it points to something beyond itself, which is New York in this case. Now, you see a beautiful flower. You see a very cute baby. Do you say, oh, this is beautiful? Or do you say, there must exist a beautiful one? This is what it shows. Like the baby, is it a pointer to the beautiful one? Or the baby itself is the beautiful? Does this make sense? Because the ard in this case is the baby, but the sama is the beautiful one. So there's a vast ard, like the creation is vast on the horizontal level. There's baby, there's mother, and there's flower. But none of them is the maker of the other. But all of them point to the sama, which is the flower points to the Jamil, the baby points to the Jamil, mother points to the Jamil, saying that there must exist a beautiful one who created this mother with beautiful mercy, baby with beautiful cuteness, flower with beautiful colors. So they are pointing to sama. So who created the sama? Now I'm talking about the second aspect, the metaphorical language, but Quran is using ard and sama in this case too. Like it's not just a poetic expression that I'm making. So when it comes to sama, who created all these layers on top of layers of meaning for the things that you observe? And the ard, the things that you are being exposed to, which will take you to the sama. Because as creation, we are created on earth. Humans are created on earth. But we will start from earth and go to sama. But the interesting thing here is, after expressing this, now comes وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. We talked about sun, moon, day, night, sama and ard, and now talking about human being in between, وَالنَّفْس, saying that, and created you in between these two. Then I should ask the question, oh, it looks like set the stage, said that look what makes sun, what makes moon, what makes day, what makes night. And what makes sama and ard, like heavens and the earth, meaning one is not making the other. By attracting our attention to ard, we should wake up and say that, oh, this this signpost for New York is not New York. Likewise, the events that I see are not for themselves. Somebody dying is not simply somebody dying because they couldn't survive, because there was a virus. No, all of them has a meaning as it refers to their maker, meaning sama. Now comes to me, وَالنَّفْسِ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. And I am also made. Now pay attention to yourself. So far, I was being invited to look outside. Now I am being invited to look at myself. How are you made? Look at yourself. وَنَفْسِ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. Atik says, or does he? Like it's by chance. Or maybe he says, no, it is my parents. Like, what makes nafs? What makes the human self? And how much have you thought about this? Because Quran is saying that you should pay attention to yourself and look at yourself. Then you will understand the importance of what comes. Because it should be, again, self-evident to me. By looking at myself, I should be saying that something extraordinary is going on in here. Yes, I think.
I did one of those DNA tests. They like tell you where you're from.
Okay. And you ended up being from Bangladesh?
South Asian.
Oh, very
It's a
interesting.
very big surprise.
Very big surprise.
I
Yeah.
think the breakdown was like 50% South India, 40% North, and like, I don't know, 10%, or no, 40% Bangladesh, then 10% North. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But what's interesting is I get emails every now and then, maybe like every 6 months or, in a year, and they'll just it'll say they updated the trait section, and then they'll give me like, oh, you're likely to not sneeze in the sun or something, or you're likely to some random stuff, you're likely to be like a leader, or you're likely your ring finger is longer than your index finger, which it is, right? Random stuff. And they just add like random traits, and they're kind of accurate.
And you can also see that by looking at the mirror, right?
I can see that, but how do they see that? They have like a piece of spit or something like, how did they figure it out?
Okay, that's a good point. The creator says, Atik, you don't need to send your DNA anywhere. Just look at yourself and how it is made. Really, like your fingers and as you said, your fingers and mine are different. So it looks like there's a measure, there's a choice being made here, which is made different in his hand than mine. So everything is being made with a measure. As things were being made in measure with sun and the moon, because we look at our phones nowadays to say that, oh, what time sun is rising? Oh, 5:37. And it's not really going to 5:38. It's really 5:37. It's a very accurate. So whomever or whatever made it, it's a very accurate, measurable creation. No randomness, apparently, very measurable. Same with the night. Same with the length of day, if we are going to now still step back to the literals. The night, the length of day, length of night. Likewise with me too. Everything is made with so much measure. With my physical body, as well as my feelings, my emotions. Like my eyes are made with a measure, but my sight is also different than eyes. We should separate the two. Sun and sunlight was separated. Eye and eyesight should be separated too. Like being able to see is not a natural consequence of having eyes. Who sees? What sees? Like if I have a camera somewhere and just camera stays there, like camera is not conscious of what it sees. As long as there's no consciousness, what will camera see? But you can see, like you have the camera here, but you can see. The sense of seeing is different than being able to see. It's also being created. It's also being given. Like a blind person has the camera, but the sight is not given. So these are being created separately. And now these all are being attracted to my attention. And وَنَفْسُ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, and the one who proportionated the nafs, the self. Now, this sounds very interesting to me because it says, as if, since we are on a university campus, let's go back to university example, telling me about the campus buildings, saying that this large building over there, this gym over there, this auditorium here, and this laboratory is over here, and you here. All of them are, and also it comes فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, and the guidance of what is right, what is wrong, and the curriculum I put before you. Now it is starting to put me in a position that says, oh, the whole system is made within a purpose, and at the heart of the system, the university, in my example, is me as a student. I am also put here for a purpose, measurably, and a curriculum is put before me. I am taught what is right and what is wrong. This is the gist of it, where it comes to here. I set up the whole universe, and I set up you and taught you what is right, what's wrong. What do you think? Is what's right, what's wrong taught to you? What do you think about this? Like this compass is given to you. You are given, like with our little Ali, let's say, when he makes a mischief, like he is aware, or he senses what's right, what's wrong, and he acts accordingly. You can see how he is doing things. And in myself, I can sense this too. Sometimes I would like to make a joke with Atik, and I feel like, oh, I'm going too much. Like this feeling of going too much is being instructed to me. Where did I get this from? Or if I'm being like nice with somebody else or mean with somebody else, I'm getting this feeling of disturbance. As I was looking at some of the tafasir, one of them was saying that there's a hadith of Prophet ﷺ I didn't see the reference, but he says, well, actually, no, he mentioned Ahmed ibn Hanbal, if I'm not remembering wrong, but it was one of the 6 canonical books. So if you are unsure, follow your conscience, even if muftis give you fatwa. Like if you're unsure, and mufti says, no, yeah, you can do it, but still you are unsure, follow your conscience rather than the fatwa in this case. So where does this feeling come from? I am being instructed. My creator put this compass in me. What's right? What's wrong? This is part of the story. I'm not left only with my devices, though. I am provided with the Son, which is revelation, and the prophet too. Human is sent to this earth as a university, as a school, as a learning ground, and instructed with, given this proportionate being and also the options, the choices. This is where it boils down to. You are given choices. When it says فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, it is taking us to the gist of human's duty. Choice. You are given choice. The Creator says, I gave you choice. I left you free there. I instructed you and gave you the choice. And this is where now you're going to function. You're not going to rise the sun. You're not going to make the moon follow the sun. None of these. But you're being instructed with the choices, and your responsibility comes in the next verse. Yes.
What do you think about sociopaths and psychopaths? Do they have are they conscious of their actions? Apparently, the idea is that they don't know what's right or wrong.
If you're not one of them, I will not bother myself with it for this hypothetical case. Are you?
Maybe.
Okay, I hope not. So, قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. This is where now it's boiling down to. The whole introduction was to attract my attention to the campus buildings, the educational setup that I am created in. And as a student, I am established. Okay, as a student, I am established. And then I am also instructed with right and wrong. And now comes what the oath was for. Truly, everything was to support this point now. قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. Truly he succeeds that purifies it, and he fails that corrupts it. Brother Birkan, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Sorry for not being there. I don't have car anymore. For those who doesn't know.
Yeah,
don't know.
Everybody in here has a car, I believe.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we have 7, 8 people here, and yeah, we have parking problem. Go ahead.
Alhamdulillah. So the first, as you said, introduction, it reminded me the period in the history of science where people thought the things like mathematics would only apply to celestial bodies, like the heavenly object, the stars, planets, and so on and so forth. There's an order there. You can mathematically, describe them and so on. But then, after a certain, the Enlightenment, and people love to say it's during the Renaissance, the Galilei and so on and so forth. Doesn't matter. The people started to saying that, actually, we should be able to use the same approach on Earth as well, and started to, mathematically study the worldly, earthly, whatever, the objects as well. So this is extremely important because this realization is based on understanding, recognizing that one way or another they are unified, right? From within our context, realizing that they are the artwork of the same artist. If you see certain the qualities in one, you would look for the similar qualities in the other as well. You have a painting of a, let's say, the famous painter. You see some qualities there. Even if the painting is changing, the content is completely changing, and so on and so forth, and you know that the signs of the painter is still there with another painting. So the ayahs, when it talks about, starting from the sun, moon, and then the earth, day, night, and comes down to the earth, what is inside the earth, and then it's the unification, saying that, wherever you look, you will see how things are tied to each other, how they relate to each other, and they are coming from the same source. You will see that. It's giving us the methodology and approach to find out the one creator. Look at there, look at here, look at yourself, and see how they are coming from the same and only source. So this introduction is kind of, the very nice summary of the oneness of creator, in the sense, like we studied this before, the Wahid, Ahad, and so on. This is the Wahadiyat, like how everything as a collection points to a single source. Jazakallah.
إياكم جزاك الله خير. And as you were talking, I realized that I forgot to mention one point. I was asking the question, why وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا, why is there this ma used rather than men? Like ma means what, men means who. So وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا, and the heavens and what built it. One meaning that we can also take from here is Quran is teaching me another way of thinking. It says, look at the sun and its light. Look at the moon and how it follows sun. Comes down, says, look at the skies and what built it. If you say who built it, you are imposing some sort of prejudice in there. But by saying what, as if saying that I'm not going to insinuate to anything. Just look at it. Whatever made it, but it's made, don't you see it? Based on this, it will bring me to the conclusion that, but there must be someone conscious that made it. Because the order in there, the perfect order among this vast picture that's now being drawn here, cannot be happening random. If you have a tiny bit of an intellect, you would say that it cannot happen randomly. It cannot happen by itself. Because the example that comes to my mind when such a thing happens is, if you just go to your car tomorrow morning, let's say Atik's beautiful car, Atik sees that the windows are broken, and then somebody has written with spray paint to the car, go to Bangladesh. Okay, go back home, go back to Bangladesh.
Back to East Pakistan.
Go back to East Pakistan, something like this. Okay, so what would Atik say? It happens, it's just random, like in this universe, random things happen quite a bit. Or this is Philadelphia, he would say, no, somebody hating me must have done this. Even they know that I am from a certain place, because there is an intentional measure taken. like breaking windows to damage. And this is about damage. It's not to build something. It's about destruction. Even if it is destruction, as you see this meaningful pattern in there, you say that there must be a meaningful maker. You're not saying that, oh, Atik, you're just making it up in yourself. You're just inducing the idea of this conscious. I mean, it's just your thinking. We never say this because it doesn't make sense.
Mm.
And this is destruction, not construction. The verse is pointing to construction and saying that, okay, whatever makes it, let me not impose you any of my understanding as if the verse is saying, because if it says men, then you might tend to say that, oh, you are insinuating that there's a God. He says, no, just look at it. It's made, but with a measure. How come? There has to be a conscious maker behind all these. This is how I should be thinking as well. Let's not start with the prejudice that God creates things. But let me try to find what makes it though, because it is being made. It is being made with a measure, with an order. This is what Ibrahim alayhi salam was teaching us, right? The methodology of Ibrahim alayhi salam. He says, I am being made, but let me see what makes me. So he starts with the, again, sun, and then moon, and then stars, because the constant change on me is a meaningful change, requiring an ongoing observation. But sun is setting, moon is setting, stars are setting. They are not constantly observing me. Whomever is making me must be observing me 24/7, must have power over all things, hence a conscious being. And Ibrahim a.s. concludes with, Inni wajjahtu wajhiya lillahi fatir as-samawati wal ard. Then I turn my face towards the one who is the creator of the heavens and the earth. He's none of them. He's beyond all of them, but he must exist. So this methodologically can teach us this too. You don't have to start with the prejudice of anything. Just be human and observe the pattern, and this is inevitably will take you there because there's measure. And then قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. Truly he succeeds that purifies it, and he fails that corrupts it. How is that related to the previous verses? Yes.
Like it's immediately related to the previous verse in the sense that it's talking about the nafs again, and the one who purifies it, the one who takes the light from the sun, being revelation and the prophet, and makes the right choices, succeeds, and the one who fails and makes the wrong choices, does not use the light of the sun. The revelation again corrupts the nafs. So you're going against your purpose.
So if we take it with the student analogy, you have seen all the buildings and all the setup, all the teachers hired and everything for the university. And then you saw the student being put into dorms and everything. And even you see that the instruction is given to the student. What would be your conclusion? What is the most important thing on this campus? Students properly learning. This is where everything boils down to. If the student doesn't do its job, what should happen? Let's destroy the university. There's no point. Like if everything is set up and student does everything but learning, let's destroy the university then because it's pointless. Really, the gist of the matter is human, like in this example, student properly learning. If it's not doing its job, then that means the whole education system is corrupt and pointless and serving any purpose but its proper purpose. This is why human choice is so important. This is why human cannot say, well, in this vast universe, all I do is not accepting God or denying God, like very insignificant of a thing. Why God is making a big deal out of that, threatening me with hell and whatnot? I'm not even a speck of dust in this universe. Why is he making a big deal out of it? As if I am a rival to him. But if the president of the university comes and really shakes the student and says, if you don't study, the whole work we do here is pointless. We are here, the whole system is here so that you study, and you're not studying. Really, this student is really worthy of being shaken very badly, saying that you have to study, man. And if you do not study, it's not a simple, small mistake. Actually, you are mocking the whole system, the whole establishment, and the one who put you here. Somebody made a huge investment on you just so that you make the right choice. So this is why sins are big deal. It's not a simple, a certain human's wrong choice at some history of time, and human dies, sins are forgotten, and that's it. Like I will die, and even like I'm just damaging myself. I'm not even acting bad to anybody else. Let's imagine a sin of this type. Like a person does something wrong by himself or herself. I'm using drug to myself, man. Or like even Ati could say, well, economical, you're damaging economy and whatnot. Forget about it. Just you are jumping from somewhere into a trash can so that even nobody is going to pick up your dead body. Okay, is it good? Good enough? Okay, so, but I'm making a wrong choice here. What's the wrong choice? I did not appreciate the whole setup that was made in there for me to learn. So the maker of the setup comes and says, you demolished the whole system as it looks at you. Because that system was made for Atik to learn and also to Ahmed to learn. But by Atik committing suicide or any sin boils down to the same destination anyways, annihilated or destroyed the universe that looks to him. Because everybody has a different universe here. Like a universe, the way I see the universe is unique to me. The way you guys see the universe are unique to you, which means as sun and sunlight was created separately, universe is created, but my perception of universe is being created separately. By denying, I am destroying this universe that is being created for me. So denial is destroying a whole universe. This is why the crime of human is so big. Indeed, قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. So due to the vastness of the system that was described before and the importance of human in there, if you choose the right choice, then yes, you indeed are successful. It all boils down to your choice. And if you mess it up, indeed you messed it up so badly. It's all about that. It's not that, oh, if you choose good, then you're being good to humanity. If you do bad, as long as you don't disturb others, you're good to go, no worries. It's not like that. And in this case, of course, I distorted the meaning a little bit or limited the meaning by putting zakkaha here as choosing the right choice. But what is zakkaha here? Let's talk about this and then we'll conclude for today. We talked about this multiple times before, but if somebody can remind us. Purification. What sort of purification? Like humans are already being born as pure. But how is it that we need to purify something that's already pure?
It gets corrupted.
It gets corrupted.
We live, it gets corrupted, so it's like we're born with the pure pureness, we get corrupted from society,
Choices.
choices, from our experiences. So purifying to try to get parents with this pure soul that we're, as much as possible.
And pure in what sense? Sinless? Like, what does it mean to be sinless? What does it mean to be pure? What's a sin? Like, don't drink alcohol, don't eat pork, don't look at bad things, and do your prayer on time, read Quran, make tasbih, give zakat. Yes.
I guess like that's what I thought, but like in one of our Friday discussion, I remember we weren't even going that far. We were just talking about something simple like when I see a tree, what am I really like? Do I appreciate the maker or am I just like, what a lovely tree? Or today it rained today, like the little things that I actually don't think about, like what am I associating with them? But I have like actual thinking process of like what I think is actually doing that. Like I give the ability of the rain, oh, it's through this cycle that I learned for whatever year. So I'm thinking of just like little actions in my own life that I don't even, I guess I haven't even considered as important until it's pointed out.
So saying, let's say, a beautiful tree, how is this dirtying yourself? A beautiful flower, how is this dirtying you? Actually, you're becoming more hippie, more environment conscious, tree hugger, like you're a good person, aren't you?
I thought so too. I thought I was doing that discussion. So it's because no good.
You're like, oh, it's too. No, I think it's because if you solely look at it from the beauty of it without recognizing the beauty came from a maker, then it's a very narrow lens. That hurts.
I mean, it's
that
narrow,
yourself.
but is it dirty?
Yeah, because it goes against like the first, like there's no God but God.
Right.
You negate that the minute you say like, well, now this thing has its own, it can function as its own entity, like it is beautiful, it can beautify itself, does it have that like power to do that? Can it do that on its own accordance, or is it also just another thing that falls under the umbrella of like, oh, it's acting by under somebody else, basically. So I think that's what I thought about is like the actual initial first, like you cannot associate a partner to God, and then you break that the minute you pick up. So I guess you don't even go that far, just stick to the main statement. I'm already at a loss. Beautifying it.
So, like, for example, you are working on epidemiology.
Yes.
Okay, good. I was able to pronounce it. Let's say you published a paper in the Nature, and you're the first author. And then at Penn's newspaper, they are talking about this groundbreaking result in Nature and how nice of those results are, and not even mentioning your name once, and say, such findings are very nice, very groundbreaking. They're ignoring you simply. What would we say? Oh, you wouldn't do this if it was a white American male. You're doing this because I am a hijabi female, right?
Well, that.
I would.
So, like in this case, they're promoting your research. You should be happy. But there's an insult within the way it's being promoted. Even if, not even that, but they attribute it to somebody else, let's say. They're attributing it to the second author, which is a white American male in this case, just to make it a little. They are talking about, they make an interview with the second author rather than you. You say this is a total insult. This is very ugly. You're not promoting this research, you're dirtying it. What you're doing is a huge crime, you would say. Now, when we say beautiful flower, I am as if promoting the beauty of the flower, but by the flower is made just so that I'm going to get to know its maker. But this is the part that I am missing altogether. And either I am totally ignoring mentioning him, or even sometimes saying that, well, it happens by itself, or it happens by chance, or the DNA makes it, or I don't know, just causes make it. The statement of beautiful flower becomes so ugly. And this outside thing doesn't stay there. This is why the creation was mentioned by sun, moon, but eventually it came to me. If I say sun happens by itself, moon happens by itself, or by some causes, when it comes to the self, what will I say? I made it. So saying beautiful flower is beautiful means I am attributing beauty of the flower to things themselves. When it comes to actions that are being manifest on me, I will attribute them to myself. So I am dirtying myself eventually. Because if flower is beautiful, then my acts are also beautiful because of me. I achieved them. Problem starts outside sometimes. I mean, it can go both ways, but saying flower is beautiful is a crime because eventually it comes to the fact that I say, oh, out of my mercy, I am cooking those tea on Fridays. I can see 20 people are attending, nobody else brings tea, only I bring tea. So I'm a good person, thinks someone. So I start attributing to myself rather than saying that, oh, the mercy of the Creator is being manifest here, not me. And I am just an observer. So I am dirtying myself in this case. So the tazkiyah, the cleansing, is then going to be, it's not mine, and it's not the flower's beauty either. Flower is being made beautiful. There must be a beautiful one. Ahmed, you were saying something, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to relate the word zakah with taqwa.
Okay.
And how taqwa, you have explained it again and again, that it's God consciousness.
God consciousness, yeah. So this tazkiyah in this case is going to take us to taqwa, like being God conscious, not self-conscious, but God conscious. Like self-conscious, if self-consciousness in this case is I don't own anything, that's a good self-consciousness. But if it's a false self-consciousness, which is I am strong, I am smart, I am beautiful, I am this, I am that, which are all lies, because none of them belongs to me. How can I say it's mine? They are being given to me. Yet I pretend as if it's mine. Like if Atik gives me his car, and I just go around the city as if it's my car and show off and whatnot. What would Atik say? Just Atik will at least laugh at me and saying that, look what he thinks. He thinks he's rich.
Keep it, we can trade.
With my Camry?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would like to keep my Camry.
You can also take the thing.
Oh, thank you. I would like to keep my Camry. So, قد أفلح من زكاه وقد خاب من دساه. So really then, the purpose of this existence is to cleanse yourself. And as we mentioned before, just to summarize and conclude it today, cleanse yourself from those false claims of ownerships. You don't own them. You are not smart. You are not beautiful. You are not strong. You are being given these qualities. You are an ard in this case. Like human is in between ard and sama. If you take, again, the example of signpost, a flower is a signpost. If you say, oh, flower is beautiful, it is identical to saying that this signpost is New York because New York is written on it. Flower is beautiful. No, beautiful is written on flower to refer to the beautiful one, not to say that flower is beautiful. Flower is a sign that a beautiful maker made it, or it's a sign of it, beauty of its maker. Day was showing the sun. Creation is showing the creator. Through the creation, I get to see the creator. I don't see the creator by himself. So zakah in here is how can I cleanse it? Cleanse or purify the self from those false claims. I repeated this a lot in the past, but for the sake of completeness, and Quran repeats as well to remind us. So that's why I think repeating is good. So zakat, giving charity. What's the point? How does zakat purify and increase your wealth? Because apparently it's decreasing it. By the way, another meaning of zakah in here is to grow. But how does zakat, giving charity, grows your wealth while it's literally decreasing it? What is the dirt? Like, is it that 30 or 1% of your wealth, you get it in the wrong ways, and then this is why you are giving it away and preserving the 39, which is the clean. Is this the idea? No. There's a false claim of ownership on this money because I started gathering it. I started feeling like, oh, it's my money, my bank account, right? But by giving this 1/40th of it to somebody, which is a symbolical number, really, 1/40 is a tiny number. The United States is taking 1/3 of my income as tax, 30%, almost 30%, right? So 1/40th is a symbolic number to cleanse my claims of ownership, saying that since I am giving it in his command, it is his property. This is how I'm cleaning it up. Likewise, cleanse yourself over, you think it was your property, right? How about your intellect? How about your strength? How about your beauty? You feel like they are yours? Give it away to him. Release your claims of ownership. Then, this is what I'm supposed to learn then. If you wrap it up, this is where it boils down to. And the saha in here is just the opposite of it. If I say, no, it's mine. Likewise, or it happens by chance. It happens because he is coming from a Bengali family. This is why he has the skin color. And the white is me here. So I have this skin color because I'm coming from more of a, I don't know, Middle Eastern. Like I am just simply attributing the skin color to my ancestry as if they are the cause of it. Or I am proud of my son. Oh, he is like his father. Again, attributing the beauty to myself. So I am, corrupting it. So inshallah, next week we will continue from here. And it's going to bring up a example with the prophethood again. So let's continue with that. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب